PlayStation 5 finally announced support for M.2 SSD devices, but they don't make it easy at all. Hi, welcome to Zgadgetreview. If you're a PlayStation 5 user or not, or it's something that you've been hoping to get and because of the shortage you haven't been able to get your hands on, or you have been waiting for this moment, the moment where Sony announces that the PlayStation 5 is finally going to start supporting M.2 SSD devices. If you're not aware what that is, there is a spot on the PlayStation 5 where you can insert an M.2 SSD and add extra storage to your system. So you'll have, I think it's up to 4 terabytes of storage so you can put on your device. Why an M.2 drive? Is because that speeds that the games need in order to run well. If you have been waiting, if you have been that person waiting for this to happen, well, it is finally happening. Quick, big caveat is that it's on beta. So you will actually have to download the beta software that is available right now for your PlayStation 5, and that will give you access to using a drive. So it's not ready for everyone per se, only people who want to take the risk of using that beta. There is a support page letting you know exactly what kind of M.2 drives you need to get, how to install it, how to remove it, how to put games. It's a very extensive help page with a lot of information in it, which is great because if you are an average user and you don't know exactly what you need to go looking for, it's, fairly easy to go in there and figure out what you need to buy, in theory. Because to me, that's where the excitement ends. The excitement is like, yes, finally, we get it. We can do it. Almost a year later, we have access to an M.2 drive. But when you start reading the help page, as I'm going to show you right now, and you're trying to figure out what kind of M.2 SSD you need to buy, well, that's where that tricky part comes in. So the question on the help page is which M.2 SSD I kind of use with my PS5. And this is the long, extensive answer. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's a lot of information. I'm just going to read you the first paragraph and then kind of scroll along to show you what I mean. Now, here's something that I want you to keep in mind as I move on to other points that I'm trying to make on this video. So keep in mind this first paragraph on the help page. It's important that you only use a supported M.2 SSD to expand your PS5 console storage. Make sure you're using an M.2 SSD that meets the following requirements, as this is a beta. Please note the final specifications may change ahead of the official system software release. And so then you go, okay, great. So they're going to give me a list of drives that are available for me to purchase, right? That they have already tested. Kind of have an idea of how they're going to work, all these things. Well, the answer is no. They didn't do that. They just made it super freaking hard for the average consumer to go and get one of these things. Interface, PCIe Gen 4x4 M.2 NVMe SSD, capacity 250 gigabytes to 4 terabytes, cooling structure. Using an M.2 SSD with your PS5 console requires effective heat dissipation with a cooling structure such as a heatsink. You can attach one to your M.2 SSD yourself, either in a single-sided format or double-sided format. There are also M.2 SSD that have cooling structures such as heatsinks built in. Sequential read speed, 5500 megabits per second. Faster is recommended. And then it just continues and continues and continues and continues. So if you are a person who is not familiar with any of this at all, this is total and utter gibberish to you, which means that it isn't consumer friendly. This isn't the first time that Sony and PlayStation 5 have been accused of not being consumer friendly. They have done a lot of things that a lot of people consider not consumer friendly, which is one of my issues with Sony and the PlayStation 5 when they do these kind of things. And it's like, what are you thinking? After the images, though, there is something that to me is kind of a problem. Because as I said, remember what they said at the beginning. They say, make sure that you use a compatible M.2 SSD device for your PS5. And then they give you this whole laundry list of specifications and things that you should be looking for and purchase when you go purchasing your own unit. Then they also add that whatever you buy might not work with the final build of the software. So technically, you could spend hundreds of dollars, because SSDs are not cheap, to buy this thing that you later are not going to be able to use when the final build of the software comes out. That's an issue. But this is the other big issue. You should carefully review drive specifications prior to purchase and contact the vendor or manufacturer if you need further information. SEIE cannot guarantee that all M.2 SSD devices meeting the described specification will work with your console, and assumes no responsibility for the selection, performance, or use of third-party products. Now, in a way, I understand this statement. This statement is kind of, legally saying, hey, you're buying this thing, it's not a problem if it doesn't work or if it breaks or whatever, it's your problem. Don't come later and try to sue us for it. But the biggest issue for me there is that you are following this laundry list. You, at PlayStation, Sony, is giving me this laundry list of things that I should be looking for when I go to buy this thing. To then later tell me that, hey, even if you follow this to the T, the drives that you get might not actually work. It's like, then why am I bothering following your list if you're going to tell me that this might not work? And if it doesn't work, there's nothing you can do for me. You can even tell me, hey, maybe you need to change this, maybe you need to fix this. No, you're just going to be like, hey, it doesn't work, have a good day, sorry. Like, come on. And I understand that right now it's a beta thing, but shouldn't they have done a little bit of research, like a little bit of looking into? Clearly, I guess clearly they have, if they are offering all these list of specs that you're supposed to look for when you're buying that thing. But to later say, hey, if it doesn't work, tough luck, sorry, it's not the right way of doing things, PlayStation. But there's more to this than just that. Not all games are necessarily playable with the exact same performance provided by the PS5 console's internal ultra-high-speed SSD, even where the M.2 SSD device sequential read speed is faster than 5500 megabytes per second. Okay, so you are giving me again a list of things that I'm supposed to use. You as a company said that if you bought an M.2 SSD that was at least 5500 megabits per second read times, that you will have pretty much the same experience with PS5 games as you were using that internal drive, which is one of the reasons why people bought this thing to begin with. Because this is what you said. This is just something that you had said when the thing was going to launch. And why you were requiring M.2 SSDs and why it took you supposedly so long to turn on the feature and blah, 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 blah. So I don't understand how you can make this available now and be like, hey, by the way, follow these rules, buy everything the way I'm telling you to buy it. But hey, by the way, it might just not work at all. And also, you might have a really crappy experience when you're using it. Bye. What? This is one of the reasons why Xbox decided to make their own SSD drive, because of speed constraints, how they wanted to make sure that the games are going to run exactly like they want them to run when you are using the console and their third-party peripheral. And they can control the manufacturing and everything on it to ensure that your experience is going to be a great experience. And they had this device available from day one. Sony has taken almost a year to make this available. And technically, it's not available yet because right now it's in beta. So whenever beta ends, which might be 2 to 3 months from now, means that it's going to be a full year by the time that this feature becomes available to every single PS5 owner. And during this whole time, they could have been making deals with manufacturers. They could have been making deals with companies that make SSDs branded as PlayStation 5 or make them show that they're compatible with the PlayStation 5. They have plenty of time to make this easier on the average consumer by saying, hey, you can buy this line of SSD drives right here, made by whoever it is, and this will actually run and work on your PlayStation 5. Even if you want to still have it as a beta testing, kind of like still kind of getting an idea of what the speeds are, how good games run, how easy it is to install, whatever it is that you want to test out, you can still do it. But no, Sony's saying, you know what, we're not going to spend the time or money on testing this out because we can just put it out to everybody, the 10 million users that we have, since they sold 10 million consoles. For that video, you can go in the description section or up here somewhere. And we're going to have them be our guinea pigs and test this out for us. And look, as a Sony consumer, as a PlayStation owner and player, I don't understand why people don't get more angry about these things and they give a pass all the time to PlayStation. They just go like, hey, whatever, it is what it is. Thank you, PlayStation, for giving us the opportunity of doing this. I just don't get how blind loyalty to a brand does this and allows this. Because if I was a PlayStation 5 consumer, and this is what they were telling me, I would be furious that I had a console that I'm literally stuck at what is it, a gig or a terabyte, of storage until whenever they decide to turn on the feature and whenever they decide to, give us the final build of the software and all that. I feel like sometimes when I hear what PlayStation announces and what Sony announces on their devices, and like in the PlayStation 5 players just go like, okay, well, thank you very much, Sony. Thank you. We appreciate it. We thank you. Why aren't you angrier? Why aren't you complaining? Why aren't you saying something? Why are you giving this company a pass? Anyway, now I'm starting to ramble, but that's just the gist of it, right? Here's finally support for something that people have been waiting for so long. And they're kind of like, my work, my no work. Have a good day. Sony always without fail pulls something like this. I mean, there's still people with TVs waiting to get the update for the HDMI 2.1 ports. That still has not happened. So I don't know what happened with Sony. What do you think about that M.2 SSD support? Is this something that you were looking forward to and now that it is here, are you excited? Are you disappointed? How do you feel about how they are proceeding with this process? Let me know in the comment section. That's it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.